When instructors create tests in Blackboard, they may need to make adjustments according to the needs of their students. So if there is a student who needs extra time on a test or is not able to take the test the day of, instructors will need to make an exception in the test settings. An exception lets a student take a test multiple times or gives extra time for them to complete the test and get a grade. If the test has already been created, but you need to add an exception for a student, you will need to edit the test settings. In your Blackboard course, go to Course Content, open the drop-down menu for Assessments, and click on Test. Below the option to create a test is the list of tests already created for the course. When you find the test you want to deploy, select it, and then click on Submit. This will take you to the Test Options page. Before setting the test exceptions, it is important to highlight the Test Availability section because they need to be set properly for exceptions to be created. If you want all students to have multiple attempts to complete a test, make sure that Multiple Attempts is checked off, and choose whether to give students unlimited attempts or a specific amount of attempts. If you want all the students to complete the test in one sitting once it's started, make sure that Forced Completion is checked off. After that, make sure that the timer, if any, is set for the test. Below that option is Auto Submit, where you can either leave it off and let students continue after the time expires, or switch it on and have the test save and be automatically submitted once the timer runs out. After that option is the Display Date, where you can set when you want the test itself to appear and when you want it to be taken off. Now, scroll down to Test Availability Exceptions, which is the area that lists the students with applied exceptions. To add a student to the list, click on Add User or Group. A new window will pop up containing the course roster. Find the student who requires the exception, check off his or her name, and click Submit. From there, you have two definite options. You can either increase the amount of attempts for the student, either a specified amount or unlimited, or you can set up how much longer you want the test to be available to the students, both by days and by time. Now, if forced completion is checked off on the test options, you can decide whether or not this applies to the specified student. In addition, if a certain time is set for the test, you can add extra minutes to the student's allotted time. One last setting to highlight is Due Date. The due date setting is generally used to help add the test in a grading period in the Grade Center and also to prevent late submissions from students, which you can set by checking off the option below. Now, one thing to be cautious of is that the due date will override test availability exceptions. So make sure that the due date is set after any other availability date. Once all these settings are in place, you can click Submit and deploy the test. If you have any other questions regarding test availability settings, be sure to contact the Kingsborough Center for E-Learning.